4G. Identify extraneous solutions of square root equations. Solve each equation. Specify extraneous solutions. Show all algebraic steps. Let's look at number 58. The square root of n equals the square root of 24 minus 2n. So to get rid of the square roots, you're just going to square each side. So we're exponentiating both sides by 2. So then we have n equals 24 minus 2n. Add 2n to each side. 3n equals 24. Divide by 3. N equals 8. And there's no extraneous solutions here because the square root of 8 is the same thing as the square root of 24 minus 16. It'll still be 8. So you need to isolate the square root, have it by itself, and then you would solve by getting rid of the square roots. Let's look at 61. Let's look at number 61. Negative 4 equals negative n plus the square root of 4n minus 19. So for this one, we want to get the square root by itself, so let's add n to each side. So if n minus 4 equals the square root of 4n minus 19. To get rid of that square root, we're going to square both sides. So there we get n squared minus 8n plus 16 equals 4n minus 19. We have a quadratic equation, so we want to move everything to one side of the equation. Until we have 0 on one side of the equation. So if n squared minus 12n plus 35 equals 0. We can factor this. A times c is 35 and b is negative 12. The two numbers that would add up to negative 12 and multiply 35 would be negative 7 and negative 5. So then we can write this as n minus 7 times n minus 5 equals 0. So that means your two roots, your two possible solutions is n equals 7 or n equals 5. Now we need to plug those in and see if they're both real or if one of them is extraneous. So let's plug in 7. So negative 4 equals negative 7 plus square root of 4 times 7 minus 19. If you plug that into the calculator, you'll get true. And then you'll do the same thing with 5. And if you plug that into the calculator, you will also get true. So that means these are both real answers. Alright, let's look at number 62. We have the square root of 2x plus 4 minus the square root of x minus, or 10 minus x equals 2. The first thing you want to do is move one of those square roots to the other side. So we have 2 plus square root of 10 minus x. Okay, we're going to get rid of the first square root by squaring each side, exponentiate by 2. So when you multiply those out, you get 2x plus 4, the square root of this 2 cancels out, equals 10 minus x plus 4 square root of 10 minus x. You could do that by either doing box or FOIL with this one. Okay, we'll combine like terms. We have 2x plus 4 equals 14 minus x plus 4 square root of 10 minus x. Okay, from there, let's move everything over to the other side of the equation except for the last term. So we're adding x and we're subtracting 14. So then we get 3x minus 10 equals 4 square root of 10 minus x. To get rid of this square root, we'll exponentiate both sides by 2. We're going to raise both to the second power. If you do box or FOIL with this one, you get 9x squared minus 60x plus 100. And on the other side, you get 16 times 10 minus x. If you distribute that 16 into each of those terms, you get 160 minus 16x. We have another quadratic equation. So we want to move everything to one side of the equation except for the 0. So add 16x and then subtract 160. So then you get 9x squared minus 44x minus 60 equals 0. We can factor this. A times c, 9 times negative 60 is negative 540. And your b is negative 44. So you want to find two numbers that will multiply to give you negative 540, and they add to give you negative 44. See if you can find those two numbers. Did you get 54? And you can check those, multiply them, they give you this number. If you add them, they give you negative 44. So then we have x minus 54 times x plus 10. And then you want to divide these by a because a is not 1. Simplify as much as you can. X minus 6 times, slide this to the front, 9x plus 10 equals 0. So you have your two roots, x equals 6 or x equals negative 10/9. So you want to check these back in with the original equation, see if they're true or false. If you get kind of imaginary numbers, it would be false in this case. So let's plug those in. 6 and negative 10/9. Alright, so let's plug in x equals 6. Okay, if you plug this in, this would be true. So that's a real answer. Now let's plug in negative 10/9. If you type this one into the calculator, it will say false. That's because if you multiply them out, you would get about 1.3 repeated minus 3.3 repeated. And that would equal negative 2, which is not 2. So your real solution is x equals 6. X equals negative 10/9 would be extraneous here. So when you're writing these two solutions, put that 6 is the real one, and the negative 10/9 is the extraneous one.